Have you ever noticed how even knowing just a few phrases in another language can kind of make you feel so much more connected to a place,
Yeah,
to its people?
it's funny how that is.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really fun guide for beginner English learners.
Okay.
It's the kind that focuses on practical, everyday conversations that can make all the difference when you're navigating a new environment.
Oh, so like a travel guide almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Like a phrase book.
Exactly like a phrase book.
It's fascinating how those guides,
Yeah.
while aimed at beginners, can actually reveal a lot about the underlying mechanics of communication,
Right?
the subtle cues and strategies we use to connect with each other, often without even realizing it.
It's like they're giving us a peek behind the curtain of everyday conversation, right?
Yeah.
And our mission today is to unpack those hidden gems,
Like that.
those essential phrases and strategies, and see how they can be adapted and built upon.
Okay.
Because let's face it, even if you're way past the beginner stage, there's always something new to discover about the art of communication, right?
Absolutely. It's like revisiting the foundation of a house you've lived in for years. You might be surprised by the clever engineering you missed before.
Exactly. So let's start with a scenario we've all encountered: shopping.
Okay.
This guide highlights the classic "how much is this?" and "I'll take it" exchange, which is so simple yet so effective.
Yeah, and it's a universal language in itself.
Oh, totally.
What's interesting is how the guide also emphasizes the phrase, "Excuse me, where can I find?"
Right.
This seemingly simple question is actually a versatile tool, not just for shopping, but for navigating any unfamiliar space.
Now that you mention it, I've used that phrase in all sorts of situations.
Well, yeah.
From finding my way around a museum to locating the restroom in a crowded restaurant. It's like a magic key to unlock information.
That's a good way to put it.
But why do you think this phrase works so well?
Well, if you break it down, it starts with, "Excuse me," which politely signals a request for help. Then you clearly identify the missing information where something is and provide context with, "Can I find?" This structure is effective because it guides the listener towards the specific help you need.
That's a really interesting point. I'd never thought about it that way
Yeah.
before. And of course, we can't forget those all-important polite essentials. Excuse me, please, and thank you. They may seem small, but they make a huge difference in creating a positive interaction.
You're absolutely right. Politeness is often the lubricant that makes social interactions smoother.
Yeah,
It signals respect and consideration, which are universally appreciated.
absolutely. Speaking of navigating, let's move on to asking for directions.
Okay.
I'm sure you, like me, have experienced that moment of panic when you're completely lost in a new city,
Oh, totally.
and then that wave of relief when you finally get clear directions from a friendly local.
It's a perfect example of how language can connect us and solve problems. The dialogue in this guide highlights the key elements of asking for directions: a clear request, concise instructions, and of course the all-important, sorry, can you repeat that? For those moments when things get a bit confusing.
I've definitely used "can you repeat that?" more times than I can count.
I know, me too.
But what I find really fascinating is how the guide mentions cultural differences in giving directions.
Yes. It's a great reminder that communication is about more than just words.
Totally.
For example, in some cultures, you might be given directions based on landmarks. Walk towards the mountain and turn left at the big tree, while in other cultures, the focus might be on street names and precise distances. Go 2 blocks north on Main Street, then turn right on Elm Avenue.
So even something as seemingly straightforward as giving directions can have cultural nuances.
Right.
It makes you realize how important it is to be aware of those subtle differences in communication styles.
Absolutely. And it's one of the things that makes language learning so interesting. You're not just learning words and grammar, you're also learning about different ways of seeing and interacting with the world.
All right, next up, let's conquer the restaurant scene.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but there's a real confidence boost that comes with successfully ordering food in another language.
It's like you've leveled up your language skills.
Copley.
And I noticed how the guide points out the subtle difference between "I'd like" and "I want" when ordering. It's a great example of how politeness levels can be expressed through different word choices.
That's interesting. So "I'd like" is generally perceived as more polite than "I would."
Exactly. "I'd like" suggests a preference,
Okay.
while "I want" can come across as more demanding.
Oh,
It's a nuanced distinction, but it can make a difference in how your request is received.
that's a great tip. It makes you realize how much meaning can be packed into a single word choice.
Yeah.
And speaking of essential phrases, "can I have the bill, please?" seems to be a universal classic.
It's a classic for a reason. It's
Yeah.
polite, clear, and gets the job done. It's interesting how this simple guide can spark so many questions
I know.
and insights about the art of communication.
It really does. It's like we're peeling back the layers of everyday conversation and discovering all these hidden complexities.
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate how much thought and intentionality
Oh.
go into even the simplest interactions.
Absolutely. And as we delve deeper into this guide, I think we'll uncover even more fascinating nuggets of wisdom
Oh, for sure.
about how we use language to connect with each other and navigate the world around us.
I can't wait. But for now, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into the unique challenges and strategies of phone conversations.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. I don't know about you, but thinking about all those subtle nuances we've been discussing really makes you realize that clear communication is so much more than just like, stringing words together,
It really is.
isn't it?
It's like we're uncovering the hidden architecture of language. Every word choice, every turn of phrase contributes to building meaning and connection.
Exactly.
Mm.
Okay, so before the break, we were about to shift gears to the world of phone calls.
Uh-huh.
I've definitely had my share of phone conversations that went hilariously wrong because of language barriers.
Oh, yeah.
It can be so tricky when you don't have those visual cues to help you out,
Phone conversations definitely come with their own unique set of challenges.
right?
Yeah, the lack of visual cues can make it harder to interpret tone and meaning, and then background noise can add another layer of complexity.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I once tried to schedule an appointment over the phone in another language and ended up accidentally agreeing to a time that was 3 hours earlier than I intended.
Oh, no.
Needless to say, I learned a valuable lesson about the importance of clarity on the phone that day.
That's a great example of how even small misunderstandings can have a big impact in phone conversations.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why mastering a few key phrases can make all the difference.
Right.
This guide emphasizes the formality of "this is name" when introducing yourself on the phone.
Okay.
It might seem simple, but it helps establish a clear and professional tone right from the start.
It's funny how a phrase that we might use almost unconsciously in our native language can actually be really strategic when you think about it.
Yeah.
What about, can I take a message? That one seems pretty essential too.
It is. It provides a smooth way to handle situations where the person you're trying to reach isn't available.
Right.
These phrases help establish a clear framework for the conversation, even when you can't see the other person.
And of course, clear pronunciation and enunciation become even more crucial on the phone, especially when you're dealing with numbers, spellings, or unfamiliar names.
Oh, totally.
There's nothing worse than having to repeat yourself multiple times because the other person can't quite understand what you're saying.
It's true. And it highlights how important it is to be mindful of our pace and clarity, especially when we're communicating across linguistic or cultural boundaries.
All right, so we've tackled shopping directions, restaurants, and now phone calls.
Wow.
It feels like we're building a pretty solid toolkit for handling everyday interactions.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears now to something a bit more casual, small talk with friends.
Okay.
I've always been amazed by how even those simple, seemingly insignificant exchanges can help you build connections and improve your fluency.
Small talk often gets dismissed as superficial,
Right.
but it plays such a vital role in social interaction.
Oh, for sure.
It helps us establish rapport, find common ground, and navigate those initial moments of awkwardness
Yeah.
when we're meeting someone new or catching up with a friend we haven't seen in a while.
The guide points to "How's your day going?"
No.
as a classic conversation starter.
Oh, yeah, a classic.
It's open-ended enough to elicit a variety of responses, and it shows that you're genuinely interested in the other person.
And what's great about that phrase is that it can be adapted to different contexts.
Cool.
You could say, "How is your week going?" Or even, "How was your weekend?" It's all about showing that you're paying attention and making an effort to connect.
And follow-up questions are key, too.
Yes,
They demonstrate that you're really listening and that you want to keep the conversation flowing.
exactly. Instead of just saying good and moving on, you could ask, "What's been the best part of your day so far?" Or, "Anything exciting planned for the weekend?" Those follow-up questions can open up whole new avenues for conversation and connection.
But I know that small talk can also be a source of anxiety for people,
Yeah.
especially in a new culture.
Right.
What might be considered polite or appropriate in one culture could be seen as intrusive or even rude in another.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you encountered any examples of that in your own experience?
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I first started traveling internationally, I was so used to asking people about their families and jobs as a way of making conversation. But I quickly learned that in some cultures, those topics are considered quite personal and are best avoided until you've built a stronger relationship with someone.
That's such a good point. It's a reminder that even something as seemingly universal as small talk can have cultural nuances. So how can we be more sensitive to those differences and avoid making any faux pas?
I think the key is to approach every interaction with a sense of curiosity and humility.
Yeah.
Be observant. Pay attention to how people around you are interacting, and don't be afraid to ask questions if you're unsure about what's appropriate.
Right.
Most people appreciate it when you're making an effort to understand their culture and customs.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from the practicalities of shopping and asking for directions to the nuances of phone calls and small talk.
We have.
I'm starting to feel like I could handle just about any everyday interaction in English.
And that's the beauty of language learning, isn't it?
It is.
It's not just about memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules.
Right.
It's about gaining the confidence and skills to navigate real-world situations and connect with people from different cultures.
It's like we're equipping ourselves with the tools to build bridges and create meaningful connections.
I like that.
It's pretty inspiring when you think about it that way.
It is. And as we continue our deep dive into this guide, I think we'll discover even more about the transformative power of language and how it can open up whole new worlds of understanding and connection.
Okay, so let's take another quick break to absorb all this great information. When we come back, we'll explore how these seemingly simple phrases can actually reveal deeper insights about human communication and cultural differences.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You know, as we've been diving deep into these everyday phrases, I've been struck by how much intentionality goes into crafting effective communication.
Yeah.
Even in those seemingly casual interactions,
Right.
there's a real art to choosing the right words and phrases to convey your meaning and build rapport.
It's true.
Yeah.
We often take those everyday conversations for granted.
Yeah.
But when you start to analyze them, you realize how much thought and strategy goes into them.
It's like we're uncovering the hidden architecture of language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes you appreciate the skill involved in teaching a language to beginners.
Right.
To break down those complex concepts into digestible chunks while still conveying the essence of how communication works.
Yeah.
That's quite a challenge.
It really is. And I think this guide does a great job of highlighting those foundational building blocks of English conversation.
Yeah.
It gives learners a solid framework to build upon, and it encourages them to explore the nuances of language and culture as they progress.
I agree. And I think one of the key takeaways for our listeners, regardless of their current language level, is that even the most fluent speakers started somewhere. Yeah. With those basic phrases and interactions.
Yeah.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it?
It is. And it underscores the importance of patience and perseverance in language learning.
Mm-hmm.
There will inevitably be bumps along the way, moments of confusion, frustration, maybe even a few awkward encounters.
Oh, for sure.
But the rewards are well worth the effort.
Absolutely. And speaking of rewards, I think it's worth emphasizing how empowering it can be to learn even a little bit of another language.
Yeah.
It opens up new avenues for connection, understanding, and even personal growth.
It's like gaining a new superpower.
I love that.
You suddenly have the ability to connect with people from different cultures, to navigate new environments, to experience the world in a richer, more nuanced way.
I love that analogy. It's so true.
Yeah.
And as we've discussed throughout this deep dive, learning another language can also spark a deeper appreciation for your own language and culture.
Oh, totally.
It's like stepping outside your own frame of reference and seeing things from a fresh perspective.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can be incredibly valuable, both personally and professionally. It can help us to be more adaptable, more empathetic, and more open-minded in our interactions with others.
Well said.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been such a fascinating exploration of the everyday magic of language.
It really has.
We've uncovered the hidden structures of communication, explored the cultural nuances of English, and even glimpsed the transformative power of language learning.
It's been a true joy to embark on this linguistic journey with you.
Likewise.
And I hope our listeners are leaving feeling inspired to continue their own explorations of language and communication.
Me too. And remember, whether you're a seasoned polyglot or just starting out, the most important thing is to approach language learning with curiosity, enthusiasm, and a willingness to embrace those inevitable stumbles along the way.
Because it's in those stumbles and those moments of pushing beyond our comfort zones that we truly grow and discover the incredible richness of human communication.
Beautifully put. And so we leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
How might learning even a few phrases in another language change your perspective on the world and your place in it? Happy exploring.